getting your own story. I was very shocked by this, profoundly shocked. And that's why my first question to you, Jurri, was how much did you know about me before you wrote this? It caught me off guard, and it was quite a fun adventure. I'm really loving it, and I'll be watching it again. I'm so excited about my new freedom and my new liberty and all the affirmations that you spoke to my life. I'm usually the encouraging person in people's lives. This has been a huge encouragement to me, Jurri. You clearly have a gift of hearing from the Lord, and I affirm that, and I can tell everybody that you and I have not exchanged any biographical information about each other before this, which affirms a really super unique gifting that you have, and I applaud you, and I'm excited about seeing it blossom further.
It's a life-altering, encouraging word that will change your life forever if you apply it, and it's totally worth the investment to do it. Don't hesitate. Don't wonder, is this right for me? Is this the right time for me? Just do it now, because you need the encouragement now. Don't wait.
And as far as the podcast goes and becoming a legend, I encourage everyone to really just pray and talk to God about it. And if you feel led to get or to sign up to get one, I strongly encourage it, because not only did this edify what God is doing in my life, but it also gave me the ability to share what he's done in my life with you guys. So that if any of you needed to hear specific things that were said by either the story or by the guest, that it really allows people to hear that, and it really allows them to get your story on top of the story that you wrote with us.
Brilliantly said. Thank you, John.
I would just recommend it to get a story, because it's the most unique thing I've heard of, but it is so anointed. So I would do it for two reasons. One is because it's anointed and you're hearing from God, and that in itself is a beautiful thing, to have God use somebody else to tell you something about yourself. So I would do it for that. And I also would do it to spur another person's passion to help sow into what you're doing, because we need people like you who are pioneers, who are boundary pushers, who want to pursue something not everyone's pursuing. We want to give you encouragement, and we want to love on you, and that's one way we can do it, since we don't get to see you in person.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
This was such an amazing experience, honestly, and I am so grateful that literally the Lord has given you this gift, because it really is powerful and impacting for me tonight. And I'm sure by just me hearing you just read my story to me, it was so touching, and it's what I needed to hear for this week. And I know a lot of people felt that way if they've come on your show, so I definitely thank you so much for your work, and definitely just keep staying in this field. It is a true blessing. Thank you.
Wow, man, Lacey, thank you for saying that. And hello and welcome to the Legends of the Wind podcast. I'm Jurri Schenck. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am super stoked and happy and excited about tonight's show. My guest tonight is Andre Harden. He is a good friend of mine that I've known for a good number of years. And I'm really excited to deliver his prophetic story. And just so you know that typically I do not know the person that I am giving a prophetic story to. Typically, I only meet them just 20 minutes before the show starts. Now, in this case, I do know Andre. So what I do in that situation is I say, okay, here's what I know about him. and I set it aside, and I go and I look and I listen for his or her story. So that's what I did this evening or last evening, writing his story, and I'm excited to give it to you. It's called Chinatown is a Mess, and we'll be bringing Andre on shortly and reading his story to him. Now, just so you know, for those of you who are new to our program, I write prophetic stories, and these things are a work of art. They are not the same thing as a prophetic word that you would receive in ministry time at a church or at a conference. If you look at the painting behind me, my wife designed that. It's a prophetic painting by my wife, Alisha. And we use our gifts and talents creatively to bring the prophetic. We merge the prophetic with the arts. And so that's why it's different. So it is not meant to be understood as a ministry. We are creatives. We are in business. And we use our time and talent to bring to you works of art. And the paintings that Alisha does are also prophetic. And the stories are like a portrait, but in word form, in story form, if that makes sense. So I hope that clears up the difference for you. And thank you very much for joining us. I'd like to bring in Andre right now, and we'll bring our guest in. This is Andre Harden. Hello, man. How are you?
How's it going, my brother?
Great to see you. Everybody, thank you for joining us in the chat. Alisha and Kylie are here. Gail is here. They found us. Awesome. So, Andre, introduce yourself to the audience, if you don't mind.
Sure. My name is Andre Harden. I have a dual purpose. I'm a prophetic minister, and I've traveled all over the world, preaching, praying, and prophesying, third world countries and places where you got to take a boat to cross the river, to hike up a mountain, to go to the village, to administer the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I also design websites that actually help me in my missionary aspects and fields. And so I've been doing that for about 25 years.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Pamela just says she's here too. Pamela is his wife. Great to see you, Pamela. Now, Andre, what kind of testimony or what kind of story, or what do you know about prophetic stories? Like, is there anything that you would like to share? I know that this story for you tonight is a gift, and I want to bless you with that opportunity to receive your own story. Just a few weeks ago, I did his wife, Pamela, but what kind of thing would you like to share about what you've seen?
It's really, really interesting because over the course of the past 25 years of seeing prophetic prophets and prophetic ministry displayed and released in the atmosphere, things tend to get a little bit maybe redundant or almost following the script, if you will. Kind of hear the same thing from the same people. And with the prophetic story, it was so unique because it's not, like you said earlier in your introduction, it's not that you're releasing a prophetic word, you're releasing a prophetic story. And that even that little small dynamic, I've brought people to you and seen you minister to them, and it's been wonderful because you were able to through your story able to bring out or bring revelation to something about that person who I thought I knew, but never knew to that degree from your story, that actually put together a whole big package to where I understand the people even more in depthly. Like for my wife, for example. Wow. I mean, you were sharing things about my wife. I've known her for 31 years. And just to see what you were able to bring to the forefront, really kind of like, wow, that is so beautiful. So I actually learned some things. And so it wasn't just, the Bible says prophecy is no for private interpretation. It is given for this revelation of what we all may know or perceive. But to have that story, adding that little visual dynamic to it, makes it come alive.
Wow. That's great. Wow. So the story helps you even know your wife even better. That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. And maybe Pamela will know you better tonight. Oh, wow. That's great. And Andre, I'm so grateful to you and Pamela as well, because members of your group online have been guests on the show and received stories, and I'm so excited just to help people, to help encourage them, to bring life to them, to strengthen them. And I look at the stories that they've received, and they've really opened their eyes. And it's a scary thing for me because even though I do this every week, it's always a new thing for me. And I always put myself out there every single time, especially with people I don't know. And then for you, I do know you, but it's like I'm still nervous too, because it's like, okay, well, will this be the thing he needs? I don't know. We'll find out, right? But I'm so excited for it. So for you, Andre, you understand this, but I'd like to give a really brief teaching about how to receive a prophetic story for the audience. So the prophetic story is a revelation, and it is meant to be understood symbolically. It's not meant to be understood literally. And it's kind of like a dream, and they're meant to be unpacked and have the meanings discovered. And then after I'm done reading the story, we have a conversation where we seek for the interpretation of the story, and then we hopefully will gain the application of what to do about the message or the hidden treasures in the story. Now, Andre, as always, you have power and you have a choice. You can say, yes, I accept this prophetic story for myself, or no, I do not. Or you say, I may need time to think about it and marinate in the process this story. So does that all make sense to you, Andre?
Absolutely.
Great,
Absolutely.
great. Well, we have also another person in the chat. Tonya says hello. She loved Pamela's story. That's great. Thank you very much for enjoying her story. So everybody, let's get rolling, right? Let's do story time. So, Andre, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Your story is titled, Chinatown is a Mess. The smell of soy sauce and romance was in the air. Andre stood in line at his favorite Chinese takeout restaurant in downtown Chinatown. His stomach was growling and he was in a hurry. Pamela was down the street and around the corner looking at all the shops. Today was Valentine's Day. Andre needed to impress his wife because yesterday he made, in his words, a little boo-boo. Andre forgot to make reservations at Pamela's favorite joint, and so tonight was his rebound effort, a Hail Mary. "Oh my gosh," cried out Andre. "Won't this line move faster? Noodles. I gotta need me some noodles." Andre reached the counter and made his order. 5 minutes, yelled the cashier over the noise. The chef madly cooked away with steam rising and splashes of sauce going everywhere. Andre inhaled the aroma and smiled. And exactly 5 minutes and 22 seconds later, Andre had his and his wife's food. "Finally, dinner," said Andre as he wound his way through the crowd. One of Andre's favorite films was Blade Runner. He enjoyed the dirty, dark world with all the neon lights and china balls hanging from the wires. The children and adults would ride their bikes and scooters through the crowd. It was like Andre was in another world. Andre carried the bags in each of his hands. They contained his precious noodles, broccoli, beef, chicken, rice, and miso soups. All he needed now was some Thai iced tea with boba gels in them. Off in the distance, Andre looked out and saw Pamela buying flowers from a young girl vendor. Pamela was so happy and put the pink roses and carnations in her hair like a crown. Andre smiled at the beauty of his wife and the joy on her face. Andre found the booth with the Thai iced teas and ordered. Pamela walked up and smiled. "Everything okay?" Andre nodded. Andre picked up the drinks and together they went to a small concrete table and chairs that sat off on the side of the edge of the street. Pamela sat down and Andre stood up and opened the first bag. Suddenly, the crowds surrounding them began yelling. Small scooter horns honked and the shouting increased. The scooters blazed their way down the street, weaving in and out of the people. Andre looked up and tried to see. "Hey, what are those guys doing?" 3 black scooter bikes with drivers wearing helmets with their faces hidden by black tinted visors raged their way toward Andre and Pamela and were about to pass them by. 2 bikes zipped past them, but the 3rd bike popped a wheelie and sped up to pass extremely close to Andre. Andre jumped back away, trying not to get run over, and the driver snatched one bag of food off the table. "Hey, hey!" Andre called out and ran. Next, one of the other bikes turned around and looped through the crowd as people dove out of the way. It zipped past Pamela and snatched the second bag of food. "You guys are nasty! Give us back our food!" Pamela yelled with anger. Andre returned to check on Pamela. He stopped dead in his tracks. Pamela crossed her arms and demanded, "This is our Valentine's Day. What are you going to do about it?" Time slowed down for Andre as he watched Pamela's unhappy face. He turned to look and see that his noodles were gone. A snarl came on his face. Anger rose up within him, and Andre called out, "Noodles!" Andre grabbed a bicycle that was leaning against the wall and pedaled madly down the street. Pamela watched him go and hollered, "Bring back our dinner, Andre!" With every inhale and exhale, Andre's heart pumped hard into his leg muscles as his feet pushed the pedals on the bike. His body was too big for the little pink girl's bike he rode. Andre rang the bell over and over. Angry and startled patrons scrambled to avoid Andre running them over. "Hey, move out of the way! Watch out! Oops, sorry!" The scooters with the takeout food maneuvered down the crowded street and turned a corner. Andre followed and found they had entered a large square with dancers and Chinese dragons bouncing their way around a tall centerpiece. Fireworks blew up in the air and exploded, and Andre watched in amazement. The distraction worked. The scooters with the noodles were gone. Andre couldn't figure out which path they escaped with. He panicked and hopped up a few times to see over the crowd. Andre was too late. He got off the bike and saw a small girl and said, "Hey there, want a bike?" The gift made the girl so happy. "Mommy, I got a bike." Andre passed through the square and looked to the right and left, trying to retrace his steps back to Pamela. As he walked down with a dejected look on his face, he came to an old man sitting on a pillow on the corner, smoking a long, skinny pipe. Andre was about to pass the old man, but he smelled the smoke. "Cinnamon, that's my favorite smell." Andre turned to the man who had his eyes closed. "Hey, what are you smoking? That's not tobacco, it's some frankincense, right?" The old man opened one eye and looked straight at Andre. He pulled the pipe from his mouth and blew a smoke ring into Andre's face, which dissolved away. "He who fails must rise again," whispered the old man. Andre got down on one knee and came closer to the elder. "You don't understand. I've failed too many times. I can't believe all my mistakes." The older man put the pipe back into his mouth and mumbled, "Cinnamon is the essence of breakthrough. If you hold on to your failures, you will never see the man in the mirror." The elderly man's words made Andre startle. The orange and red glow from the china balls lit up Andre's face as he saw his reflection in the window sitting behind the sitting old man. It was like he saw himself for the first time. "How do I succeed then?" asked Andre. "I mean, my memory isn't the best. I'm clumsy. I think I mean good, but..." The old man interrupted and blew a second smoke ring into Andre's face. He said, "Today is Valentine's Day. Love triumphs over performance." The elder leaned in and with his hand motioned for Andre to come closer. He whispered, "Do you think she still loves you?" "Yes, yes, of course." "But do you love yourself more? Where's your reservoir's source?" The old man closed his eyes and puffed more on the pipe. He picked up a cup and shook it, rattling the coins, a gesture for payment. Andre dug some change in his pocket and dropped many coins into the cup. He stood up and looked around. Which way will he go? This was always the question he asked himself in times of trouble. Andre gained some determination and declared, "He who fails must rise again." He stepped back into the crowd. "I will go to Pamela and apologize. We will have our dinner." Some familiar horns honked behind him, and Andre turned around. The scooters were back, and this time the three black-helmeted men had girls sitting behind each one of them. The first two bikes still carried the 2 bags of noodles. Andre exclaimed, "Bingo!" Andre stepped out of the bike's way before they could see him. Just as the last bike zipped by, Andre grabbed the seat and leaped back onto the back. The girl sitting on it screamed and jumped off. The driver looked and saw Andre sitting behind him. This realization made the driver turn his steering back and forth, trying to throw Andre off balance. Andre squeezed his legs on the bike and he raised his arms up high. In an instant, Andre smashed down his hands onto each side of the driver's neck with such force, knocking him unconscious. The bike lost balance and tipped over, crashing down. Andre removed the driver and left him on the ground. In an instant, Andre put the bike upright, cranked the acceleration, and sped off after the other two bikes with the noodles. This time, Andre saw everything happen at incredible speed. The people on the street, the neon lights, and the red china balls all blazed by in a mad rush. Andre had his eyes on the drivers ahead. They all wove in and out of the crowd. Up ahead, Andre saw Pamela, who was nursing the straw of 2 empty Thai iced teas. She heard the noise and looked up. Andre honked his horn and called out, "Pamela, hop on!" The two bad guys' bikes raced past Pamela. Andre held out his right arm, and just as he came to Pamela, he scooped her up, and instantly she hopped onto the back of the bike. Together, they rode onto the adventure of a lifetime. Pamela snarled, "Get him, Andre!" "You got it, babe!" Andre cranked the accelerator even more and increased in speed. Soon he caught up to the bikes. They drove side by side through the crowd. More people dove out of the way. Andre increased his speed even more and found himself in the middle of the two bikes. Andre asked Pamela, "Do you remember that 1-2 wrestling move I taught you?" "Never forgot it, dear," said Pamela with determination and confidence in her voice. Andre popped the wheel of his bike and increased in acceleration. "Okay, 1, 2. Pamela used her fists, first on the right, then on the left, and struck each of the drivers on both sides of their heads, knocking them unconscious. Andre landed his front wheel down. The girls riding on the back screamed as both bikes crashed to the ground, just as Pamela snatched the 2 bags of food before they spilled. Andre and Pamela blazed away and out of the scene. Andre drove the bike with his bride Pamela on through the square with the Chinese dragons and the people dancing. He found some switchback streets in Chinatown that led them high above the city. Together they ate their favorite noodles and watched the fireworks explode into the sky. Andre slurped up the noodles, and with shock he declared, "Hey, they're still warm." Pamela smiled and took a napkin to wipe Andre's face gently. She said, "This is the best Valentine's Day date ever." Inceptio. So there you go, man. It's a fun ride.
It's a fun ride.
So,
it's a fun ride.
Is there anything in your story that speaks to you in any way?
Well, see, now what you don't know is that literally today, I got dinner and
No. No, really?
I kid you not. And the food was warm. And it's so interesting. The really cool thing is that we were talking, oh God, what were we watching? We were watching something, and it was a movie, and they were going through Chinatown. And I remember telling her, I said, "Oh yeah, look there," because you see things on TV, and all of a sudden they drive past a location that you can just go, "I've been down that street." That was one of those situations when I told her, I said, "Wow, I remember in high school I used to buy Chinese slippers from that place right there." And I said, "Oh God, I can't wait to get back to Chinatown." And it's interesting because I'm flying back to LA on Valentine's Day. So I'm just sitting there going like, that was pretty cool. I'm literally going on Valentine's Day. So she's like, we were talking about this week. In fact, I think today we were talking about that. I said, "Am I leaving the 13th or 14th?" She goes, "No, you're leaving on Valentine's Day. You're actually leaving me. So we need to get Chinese food today." So I'm like, "Okay, we'll get Chinese food." I kid you not. So I went to I went and grabbed Chinese food. And
Oh my goodness.
I went to go pick us and goes, "Make sure you go get the food later because I want to make sure it's hot." And so it's like it is so uncanny that where you were saying things literally where we were just talking about that. I love that. That was beautiful. Yeah. And I think I want to say, "Hey, Ann." I'm going to probably yell at her upstairs. But I think it was Friday. I think it was that we had to go to a doctor's appointment. And she said that before, because I wasn't getting my tire fixed, and she said, before we do that, can I go to the Thai food place to go get my lunch slash dinner? So yeah, sure. And and I remember grabbing a little crazy Thai drink that I wanted to sip on, and so I'm like thinking like you were literally explaining things we just went through. And I thought it was beautiful. So what spoke to me
Wow.
was the part where the man said, oh, you said the mistakes,
He,
the
he,
quoting the element.
he who fails must rise again.
Yeah, that was like that hit home. That really hit home because of what God is doing in us and through us. Again, we were just talking about that. Like, wow, look who we are now, considering from where we came from, and it just like full circle, literally just full circle, and I love that. So that was that was beautiful. I found myself going, "What's next?" You know, so I'm like grabbing popcorn, like, "What's gonna happen next?" That was beautiful. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, man. Really
Wow.
beautiful.
Man,
Yeah.
that's so cool because, like, recently, like with you and with Melissa last week, Melissa was on my guest, and then with Dr. Nick Goff, it turns out that lately, in the past month or two, every guest that I've given a story to, it's been an absolute now word for them. And here it is again, a now story for you, even though it's not like super heavy and burdensome. Like the other two people had very difficult situations that they were going through. But for you, it's still a now story. It's amazing.
I
I'm
love
so
it.
encouraged. I was like, is this story prophetic enough? And I'm like, I didn't know, you know, and here it is. And like, you never told me beforehand what you ate for dinner, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, that's right. And it's so funny because you're reading Pamela's story.
Yeah.
I literally went to that place and grabbed a chocolate croissant, and you said, and Andrew's eating a chocolate croissant. I go, oh my God, like, are you following us? I love it, man. That's. I mean, like, out of all the things you could be eating or saying, you said croissant. I mean, the odds are astronomical.
Oh
Literally
my
astronomical.
goodness. Wow.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah,
Fantastic. This is so cool. And
yeah.
Pamela, Mike Smith says, hi, Jurri and Andre. Hey, Mike, good to see you.
Hey,
Pamela
Mike.
says, I like the part where I punch the bad guys.
I was gonna say Pamela's loving that part. She's loving that part. I can see her doing that.
Boo, boo. You know, it's so fun.
Love
Wow. Well, you know, because I started getting the title and the first images about Friday, a few days ago, and then I got super busy because we had I had to teach English Friday night, and then we had our traveling and things like that, and so I was like, okay. And then usually I know when it's the Lord for what the story is He'll tell me ahead of time, and then I'll forget. But if it comes back and it keeps coming back, then I know that's the thing. And one of the things that he said to me going to bed Friday night was, Andre's story has to do with failures. And that sometimes the enemy likes to make him feel like a failure. And that his story is going to be his rising up and overcoming. What do you think about that?
Yeah, hits home. Hits home. Like I said, we were just talking about that, looking back at our past failures and just kind of, realizing that like, wow, okay, the greatest teacher is experience.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to repeat the acts of the past. We're not going to repeat those same cycles. We're breaking those cycles of calamity and disaster and moving on. And then where you go, okay, I now know, or I thank God for what I now know. I am not where I'm supposed to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be.
Right.
And that, yeah, and it's because of
Wow.
the fact that my client, I don't know, my client, my employer, which has been an absolute blessing. We sell motorcycle parts, and so
Oh my goodness. That's
yeah,
interesting. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's
That's amazing.
yeah. So that's why,
The word says that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. It's stealing your food, killing your time, and destroying romance and your time with your wife, for Pamela. So But here's the cool thing: you recovered it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so fun. Wow. Yeah, because I love this story because it's not heavy, and it's just an action story. Now, here's the cool thing, guys. Can God speak to you through a fun action story like Tango and Cash or Chinatown or what's the movie with the girl with the green eyes? I can't remember that. Chinatown or what's
Jade?
that?
Was it the girl, the Jade?
Yeah. I can't remember. It's a fun action Chinese American hero film, and it's like, can God talk to you more than just the Bible? Can you have revelation in a campy action story? Here we go, guys. This is amazing. So it's a matter of, well, can we be perceptive enough to be aware when he's speaking? And here it is. It's right for you. It's so cool. Mike Smith has several comments. The coincidences are hilarious. It's definitely God. Andre and Pamela are more than conquerors. And Pamela says, I love the fact I drank both of the Thai iced teas. Andre doesn't like this stuff. I think that was cool because in your story, Andre didn't drink it, but I drank both. Wow, that's great, man. Well, you know what that means, guys. Guess what's coming your way?
What?
A double portion.
Oh, amen.
Double portion. There you go. So cool.
I love it.
Wow. It's funny because like you talk about what do you do for a living? You build websites so you can fund your adventures. You can go to international trips and see worlds, like this Chinatown, and you can go to the Philippines and Romania and other places. By the way, what do you think about the movie Blade Runner? That's kind of in your story.
Well, interesting enough, I love Blade Runner. Absolutely love it. And I was actually thinking at that one point where Rutger Hauer, he's on the roof right before the end, and he says something so profound. And of course, I can't remember it now. Where he's done fighting Harrison Ford, and he said there's one cool line, and it's like always been like that. They never really see who you are until the end, or something like that. Something where the true essence of who you are is revealed at the end.
Yeah.
And I just think that was just, I'm not quoting it correctly, but yeah, that will never forget. I'm going to say I'll never forget that, and you never forget the line. But yeah, that
Tears in the
movie.
Rain. There's the last few sentences like tears in the rain.
Yeah. He's got this really cool monologue while he's sitting there, and I love that.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was accurate too, that you really like that film. It's one of my more favorite films too. So that's so cool. Yeah, because like the thumbnail for the YouTube thing, I found a cool painting of Chinatown, and that was the balls. It reminded me of Blade Runner, and that's so cool. Well, where else can we go with interpreting your story? And by the way, what do you think could be some application for yourself in this story?
Oh, that was just definitely a word from the Lord of encouragement because of the fact, like I said, we were just talking about that, and I was just reminiscing of the fact of I woke up, today's Monday, Saturday or Sunday morning, literally like a couple of days ago, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm thinking like, God is so good. And that's when I was really pondering, like from where we came from to where we're advancing to, and just reliving. No, I shouldn't say reliving, but revisiting those issues that we could say, wow, we've come a long way, and we were just talking about coming that long way. So when me picking her up, putting her on the bike, and I was like, say, babe, remember that move I taught you? And she fulfilled that move. And there's, like you said, that one line where I said something like, you got it, babe, or something like that, or I love you more, or something like that. We literally just said that. So it was more or less the real life, on time, accurate, behind the curtain dialogue of our communications.
Wow.
It was precious.
That's
precious.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's great because it's truly an encouraging story for you, because it affirms you. It affirms your effort. It affirms the struggles you've gone through, both you and Pamela, and he knows, and then he's here to say, okay, what was lost will be recovered for you. And I think that it's just designed in such a fun story. I mean,
Yes.
I have to tell you, I was worried, like I said earlier, and God's like, nope, it's not going to land badly. It's going to land well for Andre. And and you surprised me with the little carton of food from the Chinese restaurant.
Oh my God! I'm thinking like, oh my, we just had Chinese food. Oh my God! It was just like, that's totally cool.
That's amazing. Wow. Well, so, by the way, guys, if you are enjoying this podcast and you're enjoying the story and enjoying this interpretation time of discovery, please hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Please subscribe to our channel. We are still in a building, growing season, and so the more that you comment and the more that you hit like and subscribe, the more opportunity the algorithm will give us visibility, because we would love your support. Andre, what do you think the future is that God's speaking to you? That if you were to look at this story in that light, what would you say? The future.
Cinnamon. Cinnamon. Yeah. It's a purifying, cleansing aroma of his presence. And that was really unique and beautiful, because I was literally, again, one of those moments where in Romania, they just something that I pick up where they drink a capful of apple cider. They drink a capful of olive oil in the morning, and a cupful of apple cider at night, and they never get sick. It's just one of those things where those little homeopathic remedies that they just keep them alive. And once in a while, they'll add cinnamon to kill any diseases and ward off any sickness. And I'm sitting there just thinking, I was thinking, I need to go grab some cinnamon, because that's really going to help, like adding the little kick. And that was one of those things that the old man said, and I just thought, okay. I was just questioning that. I was just literally thinking about that.
Let me find it, because like he says it's something about breakthrough. Let's see here. Cinnamon is the essence of breakthrough. If you hold on to your failures, you'll never see the man in the mirror. So it's tying in breakthrough with identity, and then cinnamon is the essence. Kim Clement, I had one time of communication with him before he passed away over email, and Kim was able to smell people's destinies when he ministered on stage, and basically the different aromas he would pick up would be showing the person's certain conditional situation or their future. And he said that if he smelled cinnamon or acacia, he knew that their breakthrough would be coming soon. And so isn't that cool? The smell of cinnamon giving revelation of breakthrough.
I love it.
And then you added on to that, it brings healing and longevity and health, right? So that's cool. Wow.
Really cool.
So do you think that you sense something in the future, a breakthrough for you guys in some way?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, like the on now revelatory behind the curtain word. And I mean, even as an encouragement to you, Jurri, Pamela and I were talking about that, because we were thinking like he knows us. Like, what more? Like, so my prayer was, Lord, let it be something unique to me, to where he wouldn't know, but I would know it's you. And the story does that.
Wow.
Down to the noodles. Down to the noodles.
Down to the noodles. Cinnamon noodles, boba tea.
That's literally just going through that. I that's uncanny. I love it.
That's so fun. Wow.
Yeah.
So guys, in the comment, we got some people here who are watching. Do you have any more comments or questions or anything that you want to say? And get involved, guys. We would love to have you participate in our conversation. Andre, I get a thrill out of being creative. And I always think that with the prophetic stories, it's about a partnership with God of co-creating with him. And my passion is to help inspire people through those creative works. And that's how I'm wired. And so I'm really excited that this is always seemingly getting better and better. It's so encouraging to me because, I had my pastor, Tom Wright. He was talking to me the other day, and he goes, if he couldn't do what I do because he said I'd have his heart would be in his throat, and he was encouraging me that it takes incredible faith to do what you do. And I'm like, well, I don't feel like I'm powerful or have great faith. I told him, I said, well, I looked at Kim Clement all those years in all of his meetings, and I saw what he did, and he took the risk, and he went out there and did it. And so I kind of just jump off the cliff every time. I land, thank God. And, Kim always said, his critics would go, well, what if you're wrong? And Kim would reply, well, what if I'm right? And that boldness is something he modeled. And I'm so encouraged by what he demonstrated, and I honor his example. Kylie has a question. Does food mean energy in dream language? Well, that's a good point. The Bible says that the word of the Lord is like bread for us. It gives us life. So yes, Kylie, food can mean energy in dream language. Absolutely. So Andre, let's go for it. Has there been recently stealers of your energy in your life? And if so, maybe that means that you're having a return of energy and life to you. What do you think about that?
Well, actually, the work of what I'm doing, excuse me, with this motorcycle business has been draining. Just really draining. So just to know that strength would be coming back was just, again, another encouraging word to know I'm going to restore your strength. Pam and I were saying something like, you're always working. Are you going to be working to where you're not going to spend any time? And so that let me know that we will be able to, she's going to hop on the back of my motorcycle with me, and we're going to do this thing together, and she'll be knocking dudes out and rehearsing that move I taught her.
Nice. Well, great. That's cool. Kylie, thank you very much for that insight. That's a great piece of to discuss. What else can we talk about? So we talked about cinnamon. We talked about what about Chinatown? Is there anything about Chinatown that really hits home for you?
Oh God, yes. I mean, like I said, that was old stomping ground for me. That was my place. Yeah, and I'm again, bring out the nerd in me. I am a fond admirer of the kung fu genre and the kung fu movies. Going back, in fact, I was just quoting Bruce Lee a couple of days ago. In fact, even today I was quoting Bruce Lee when he said, because I stubbed my toe on something, and Bruce Lee, I remember in Enter the Dragon, where the guy was trying to show off, and he has his board, and he breaks the board, and Bruce Lee says, "Boards don't hit back." And I just remember I was going, "Whoop!" That was so cool. And it is in those things, those little things where only God knows my language, and you were speaking my language.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. What else can we talk about? So, Pamela just chimed in. And China was your first mission trip.
Yes. Yes, I was in Beijing, China. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Cool. And so the fact that there were 3 motorcycles, does the number 3 mean anything to you? Or how would you unpack that?
2023 is the year.
The year. Cool. Wow. Very cool. Well, I don't want to. I'm not speaking negatively in any way or insinuating about your employer. You need to work. You need to have a job, and your provision. So I want if your boss ever sees this, I have no inclination of defaming your employer in any way.
Well, no, you understand, because now I got my hands on it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the one steering. I'm the one driving. I'm the one.
That's right.
Got the
It
control.
ends well.
Yeah.
It ends well.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So you became in charge of that motorcycle.
Exactly.
There you go. And guess
Yeah.
what? You got to a higher level. You got your provision, you got your food, your energy, and you have your romance with Pamela, and you have a higher level, and your food is still warm.
Food is still warm. Come on.
That's so cool. Wow. Well, guys, we're kind of wrapping it up here. Andre, anything else to talk about, or we think we're good?
I think we're good.
Cool.
No, I was just like, you said there was a smoke. He goes, "What's that aroma or smell?"
Cinnamon or frankincense. Or you asked if it was frankincense, but you smelled cinnamon.
Okay. I thought he was smoking a cigar. That's from his cigar, right? Or
It was
from his...
a pipe, a long, skinny pipe.
Yeah. 20 years ago, I was just worshiping God, and I was in the living room. She was in her bedroom, and I thought she had sprayed perfume because it was a strong odor to where I was worshiping, and I went, "Well, hey, lighten up." And she was like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Whew, I can smell it all the way out here." And she's like, "Smell what?" I go, "That whatever perfume you got going." She's like, I didn't smell spray any perfume." And I was like, "Whoa!" And that was like my first tangible spiritual smelling sensation I've ever had of heaven. And so I'm always like saying smelling the fragrances, because that was one of the first times I was really, because I wasn't expecting it. So when that came and hit me, so when you said that, it reminded me about that time, which also let me know that was God speaking my language.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. That's amazing. Wow, there's so many things in here that are speaking your language. That's so amazing. Wow. Well, guys, for those of you who are watching, if you want to receive a prophetic story, and if you don't want to be on the show, you don't have to. I can totally work with you on that. But go to our website, legendsofthewind.com, and go to our store and go to the product Become a Legend. Or there's a link in the description below here on YouTube. And you can order a prophetic story from me. You imagine what's going to happen. Imagine what story is going to come and speak to you in your own language and encourage you and strengthen you. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time now, and just in the past, we're not quite a year of doing regular broadcasts. Some of Andre's people came on board a year ago in February, but I haven't done regular broadcasts for this past time since May. And every time I've been doing it, it's getting stronger and stronger and more powerful. So take advantage of getting your own prophetic story. And also, if you want to gift somebody a prophetic story, that's an option too. If you want to do that, just give us their name and email address and gift them a prophetic story. Now, just so you know that the price, what goes into it, is enabling us to do this show. It's enabling us to have a broadcast and have our time and talent being put to use. You know, for the show, it's about an hour, but writing it takes about 2 hours. And I also have to go through and proof it and correct things and make clarity. I don't ever go and make story changes. I only fix grammar, spelling, and clarity. But there's a significant grace that is given to me to do this, and we want to bless you and encourage you in your story. One of the things about the language of becoming a legend, it has to do with not that you're going to become super famous, but legends serve a purpose. They're found on maps. and they tell you what things are and help you know what your location is on a map and where you're going. And these prophetic stories do that for the people I write for. And people are blessed who are not necessarily receiving a story directly, but we get to learn from other people's stories as well. So everybody gets to see the universal application to these stories in them. So I highly encourage you to do that. Tonya says, yes, grab your story. Al and the Mine Shaft here. It's so cool and inspiring. Oh, I remember your story. Al and the Mine Shaft. Now, that's something that we haven't had a broadcast about. And I can't tell you guys yet what that story meant. But she said on the phone that it was right on. But we're waiting for the right timing for her and maybe someone else to join her on the show. So thank you very much for joining us on the show. She's got 3 emoticons of hearts, red hearts. Yes, very good. So Tonya, put one more heart up if things are going well in that story, if that makes sense. Let me know if that's working, okay? Because if it is, and when the time is right, you guys will be so encouraged by Tonya's story and what was unfolding in her life and the testimony that comes out of it. So anyway, Tonya, thank you very much. Guys, yep, single heart. All right, cool. Very cool. You just let me know when you want to come on the air, Tonya. We'll read your story, okay? Thank you very much, guys. Well, everybody, it has been a fantastic show. I mean, I was so worried that this wasn't a prophetic enough story, but it was more than I expected. And it wasn't in Christianese and heavy dream language. It was right on for Andre. And I'm so blessed to know that it really landed so well for him. Guys, thank you very much. Andre, thank you for being my guest. And everybody, please share this film or this video. Share it out. Tell people what the testimonies are of Andre's story and how it landed so well for him. And guys, thank you for Andre. Don't hang up. We'll have you stick around. Okay. Alisha and I will talk to you afterward. But everybody, thank you so much for being a part of the program. Andre, thank you for being my guest. It's a pleasure to have you.
Honor is mine, my brother. Honor is mine.
Great. Well, I'm honored as well. And thank you again for trusting me to deliver you a prophetic story. And thank you for trusting me to help your people on your show with their stories as well. So guys, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you again, and we'll have you on the next broadcast. Thanks and good night.